All right, so today we're going to look at some workflows for having online assignments and then taking those assignments and bringing them into Rhino and cutting them on your laser cutter. So first off, we're going to come over here in Onshape and do create, and we're going to create a document. And we're going to name this document square with 4 holes. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create the project. We're going to make a drawing of it for the students to make their project off. And then we're going to create a separate document for the assignment turn in. So we'll come here in the top view. We're going to turn off our right and front planes, and we're going to sketch in the top plane. I'm going to bring a center rectangle tool and go like that. I'm going to bring a second one in, but this one's going to be with a construction line. And now I'm going to use my equal tool and make sure that these two are always equal and these two are always equal. So I have 2 squares right there. It looks like one of my squares is not on the origin, so I'll just align it there with the coincident tool. So now I can dimension these. So what's nice is I only have to dimension one side. So I'll do this one as 4, and we'll do this one as 3.5. Now what we can do is we have a fully defined sketch here. You can see that it's all black, and we can escape our dimension, and we'll come over here with our center circle tool, and we'll put circles on these points. So all we did was used that rectangle as locations for our center points. So now all we have to do is we'll dimension this first one, and we'll do this at 0.25. And I can come here and use my equal constraint, and I can make all of these circles equal in size. This limits the amount of dimensions that I need to put on my part. You can see that we made this whole thing with 3 dimensions. What's also great about this is it's parametric. So if I change this distance to say 3, those circles are all going to follow in, and so they still make this square here based on the constraints that we created. If I wanted to make this bigger, maybe we go 0.5. Now all those holes are going to be bigger. So we have a 4 by 4 square with holes that are 3 by 3 and 0.5 inches in diameter. So since we also use these construction lines here, that means that when we go to extrude this, we're just going to get this profile that's highlighting there. If you drew these and they weren't a construction line, you can just select them all and click construction line right here, and it will make them a construction line. It just creates more work when we go to extrude, because right now I can just click and it's going to extrude. If those are solid lines, you're going to have to go in there and click on these corners to get a complete hole. So we're going to extrude this to be 3 millimeters to replicate the wood that we use on our laser cutter. So we can just type in 3 millimeter and we'll get our part here. Now what we can do is we can right click on this and we can do create drawing of part 1. I just have the ANSI A-inch drawing template right here with no views selected. You could have a 4 view here for certain drawings, but this one we're only going to need the top and the one of the front or right views to show the part. So this is going to open up a separate document here. It's going to be a drawing document. And we can have our part here, and we're going to put the dimensions on it. So we can come and select top. We're going to do 1 to 1. And you can see right here that the top view comes into sight, and we click and that locks that in. And let that load for a sec. And if I drag over a a right view, it pops right there. If we want a separate view, so I'm going to drag down, you can see that I now have a front view. So I can click there and get the front view. And now I want to insert an isometric view. So all I have to do is click on this button right here for insert view, and we can do isometric. And we'll put that over here. Now you can see that this is a little big, this 1-to-1. So I'm going to right click in the document to get the sheet properties, and we're just going to change that to 1 to 1.5. And there we go. And you can drag these and move them around if you need to, and the view will follow it around. So now we just have to dimension this, that our students have a blueprint to build off of. So we'll come right here and we can just click this dimension tool. You can also just press D. So I can just click on the points here, and this is just gonna give me the measurement that we have. So we'll put the edge here. We'll give a center to center length. We'll do that right here. And then I can just come and do that right there. And grab the center there. And show that this is 0.5 by 0.5. So now we should be able to map this out. Since we plot this first one, go 3 inches, 3 inches, and 3 inches over, we can get those 4 holes located. I can come over here and I can measure the thickness. This is going to come out in inches. So we can also come over here with a note, which is this little A right here. And we can type in material 3mm birch. And we can hit our green check to have that note there. And we're done now. We just have to come over here. We'll add a title. We can call this square with 4 holes. And there we go. So we have a blueprint now. We can go and right click on the part 1 drawing, and we can click export, and this is going to export it as a PDF. We can change the name to square with 4 holes assignment, and we'll export it as a PDF. There's a few different things that we can do here. So now that we have this as a PDF, we can come and we can go and export. And you can see right here, it's preparing the PDF. And now we've downloaded the PDF right over here. So we're going to come back to our Onshape. So this is like, that's our assignment folder. This is how we created the object that we want our students to make. We're going to go over here and create another document. We're going to call this square with 4 holes assignment. And this is the one that you're going to share with your class. Looks like we have one, so we'll do it. And so here, what we're going to do is we're going to rename Part Studio 1 as our turn-in. And we can delete assembly 1. We don't need an assembly here. And we can come over here and we can do import. And we can import square with 4 holes assignment. And that's going to give us a PDF for students to reference. So if they click right here, they're going to get the PDF inside the parts document, and they can either download this or they can print it so that they can work off this in their own assignment. And then what they're going to do is now, if this was the student's account, they would create a document and they would call it square with 4 holes, and then maybe their name. So I do dash Tim Swartz and do OK. And now they could build their part off of the drawing that you gave them for the assignment. And maybe you even attach a PDF of some written instructions that you want in there as well. And so I'm going to come here and I'm going to do my project. Maybe I don't do that great of a job. I'm not very good with instructions, but I've got my something that looks like a square and there are 4 holes on that. And I extrude it. I have my extrusion distance there. So now that I have this part, what I can do, this is finished. I'm going to create a version and we'll just call this final. This is what I want to turn in. I'll come, this is now me as a student. I will see right here the assignment that I was given by my teacher, and I can come over to the turn in. I can go and click derived, and I'll go into other documents and I can click on my Onshape and I can find all the stuff I've been working on. Here's my square with 4 holes, and I can just click on that part and insert it. And once I hit the green check, that's inserted. I've got this part here. Now all of the parts are going to import in the center. So the students are going to have to click on this button, which is transform. They'll select their object and we can just translate by X, Y, and Z, and they'll just kind of scoot this over. Well, let's say I want to have another student bring in their project, and we can see that this one's right here. We'll describe this as a different project, but we'll bring it in. So there's my other project, but you can see that they overlap. So this student's going to have to grab their project they just imported and move it over. Now, you, the teacher, could also do this, but I would have my students do it so I don't have as much work. And then once we have all of our projects imported by our students, we can actually select everything. We can right click and we can do export. And from that export, you can have a bunch of files here. So if these are all going to be 3D printed, you can export them as STLs. But I will remind you that if you do an STL, all the objects are going to be in one STL. So that would be one print. You can't separate it in your slicer after that. So you could batch them from here, or you could just do individual STLs for the files. And we come here and do Rhino. So this will export as a Rhino file. And then you can just hit OK. And then you could either take this file, it's going to download just over here as a 3DM file, and you could put it in your drive, or if you're already at a school computer, this will download directly to that computer that maybe your laser cutter's on. And then you can just open up that Rhino file and it should have all of the kids' projects here. And they are all in 3D. So when you get into Rhino, you can just select everything and use the command make 2D, and then you'll have 2D profiles for all of the parts here. So that can be a simple workflow for you guys that allows students to do this remotely through Onshape. And when you get to Rhino, it's not too much work to convert it over. So there you guys go.